Welcome back to Unmuted Nation. I'm Alex Haynes, and joining me this hour is Tiffanie Lanelle from Tiffanie Talks, also here on Boss FM Talks. We haven't done this in a while, and it's customary for me to want to get her take on some things that are going on. So instead of drawing this out, we all got things to do, and I know you do as well. Tiff, Eddie, welcome back to Unmuted Nation.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
How are you? What's going on? What's new?
You know, just taking it day by day, step by step, and hanging in there. That's really all you can do. We've been in this pandemic, Ponderosa, Panini, whatever you want to call it, for about a year and a half. So you just make do. I'm ready to travel again.
Well, I've done some of that. So you say something that's really interesting. We're still in a pandemic.
By my definition and my standards, let me put it that way.
So, because I don't really think people believe that. And granted, I have been a little, and I don't know, it may be a seasonal thing, but I've been a little disconnected. I'm always kind of like oblivious to what's happening on social media unless somebody sends me something directly, because I just don't care.
Right.
I really don't. But as I was scrolling through this morning, I saw like footage, and I know that it's Wednesday, but I was seeing footage, and this is why I don't get on there, because especially that one other one by Facebook. I don't like getting on there because everything's like 4 days old, and everything that I was seeing was from like Sunday and Monday. And I'm like, are you showing it to me because you thought that I wanted to see it? Because I really want to know like what's happening right now, which is why I stick with Twitter. But I have not really seen that people are really taking, and I really feel like, I think that we could probably say that we are closer to, no, we're still in a pandemic. I was going to try to say that we've moved into an epidemic. I think from a number standpoint, I think cases are down tremendously.
In certain areas.
Those of you that, in this country.
There we go.
Also a country that doesn't really care about other countries, but.
There we go.
But there's still no cure for this thing.
Correct. And you will still have to get probably at least a booster shot, if not another vaccine. I don't know that we are to a point where you'll have to get a COVID vaccine every year like you do the flu vaccine. You may have to at least get a booster shot. They really don't know if we'll have to get a vaccine every year like we do the flu vaccine, but you will at least have to get a booster shot, depending on which vaccine you got, and probably all of them, but don't quote me on that. That's just a guess that we're going to have to all at least get.
I think that's a fair and educated guess. But I will say that I think people have moved on, and that's because I saw two reputable news organizations this morning release Dr. Fauci's emails from January to, and of course, like we say email in this instance, and people start to panic. This is not a Hillary Clinton type, oh my God, his emails, they were only released because they are public record. So when you work for the government in any instance, if you work for a government organization, and I don't care if you have your email at at your local DMV, those emails that you receive from your boss trying to find out what time you clocked in, and when you're taking your next vacation, all of those are really public record, kind of like your salary. So, but I would say that the world is starting to move on from that. And it's really interesting to watch people that were very hesitant about there even being a pandemic at all. Just like now, acting like there never was. So I think we're in a really, really, really interesting time, and it's interesting to see. I want to, and I think as we talk about not just pandemics, I think it's important for us to keep in mind that this, for you, like you person that listens to this show and you millennial, it's important for you to know that this one was like, it's not just like, oh, bro, there was a pandemic and it came out of nowhere. This world has epidemics and pandemics often because there's very poor health care and very poor hygiene. And
Right.
I don't even really want to go, I'm not going to go off on a tangent on hygiene, but you know those people's houses that you're not going to go in.
Absolutely.
You might be one of those people that people don't come to your house and you're wondering why that is. You're nasty. And I see people do nasty things publicly, and that convinces me, oh, I don't, not only do I, well, up here, it's not likely that I'm going to get in your car, but I'm not coming to your house.
No, I don't know. I'm very particular, for lack of a better word, of whose houses I visit, who I visit, where I visit, when I visit. If I've never been to your house and we're like friends, real friends, there's probably a reason. But I'm also that friend who will tell you, your house is nasty. Now, I might find a better way to say it depending on the friendship, but I am that friend to say, no.
See, you know, I'm not that friend, and we're not going to sit here and pretend like I am. I'm that friend that's going to be like, this is nasty. Your house is nasty. Why are these dishes still in the sink? You know, you have people coming over here. What the hell is going on in here? What is that a roach? I got to go. Like, and I really think like there's no, you yourself are breeding the next COVID-23, right? You're doing it in your house because you have food on the floor under your bed. I don't even know how food got in your room. Off topic. But that does bring me back to, I want to talk about something. And I think, you know, while we go, we have to, I'm a serious person. I'm serious nature. But I'm also like a realist. As things start to open back up, and, you know, I know that people are going places. I've been places. I've also traveled internationally. I don't want to do it again because there's way too much nose play going on. And I'm really not really into, I don't even like people in my, I was about to say something. I'll say it. I know y'all like people in your holes, but these two, let's not do that. So for me, it's just not, I'm not ready for that. So until these other countries start to bring those levels down, that's when I will be more comfortable. But as you people are going back out, let me say this, and I don't know if you saw this.
Probably not, because I'm like you about social media. Keep it.
But this is one of those things that was sent to me, right? And if you're listening, I'm going to encourage you, like I always do, go follow Unmuted Nation on Twitter and on Facebook so that you can see this, because you're going to hear the soundtrack that social media added to this. But y'all are out here acting a fool. Exhibit A. No.
Oh.
She knew better than that. She knew how you, with these unlimited brunches, y'all are out here becoming unlimited. It's like your stupidity is endless. You have endless stupidity.
She looked barefoot. Was she barefoot and went through that glass? First of all, I've never seen a windshield.
No. The thing about this, too, when y'all are reckless like this, somebody's always watching. Someone's always watching. Somebody is always there. And it used to be somebody like me, because I could catch every moment. I used to be able to catch, and now I don't care. I don't care. But she knew that her ass, that windshield, first of all, I am 100% sure that the hood started creaking while she was climbing up it. I know that it was. She was hearing sounds and motions and like, I know that the windshield was starting to, the hood of that car started to get dented. So she knew what was happening. happening. And she proceeded, and you're not going to blame this on unlimited brunch. That's what we're not doing. We're not going to blame this on unlimited mimosas. I don't have the tolerance for that. I don't have the patience for that.
That baby went right through that windshield. God bless her. And
because she had no business. She had no business. And I can hear her mama right now. Precious, get your ass off that hood.
Precious.
I mean, you know, we have preciouses in our families. That's a family name. There's also a significant cultural comedy that was not intended to be a comedy that we all think is a comedy, because Precious was funny as hell. But
tragically.
Like, so my charge to you is as the world starts to open up, and I'm not talking to your people down there in Atlanta, because you people acted like there was never a Panoramic or a Ponderosa or a Piccadilly or a Panda Express. Y'all were just out here doing things. Y'all probably got something that hasn't been discovered yet, right? Just floating around in the air. I still haven't even been down there to visit my family, because I'm like, you know, I'm gonna take my time. You back in there like that.
I mean, I get it. Some of us down here are safe, so I just want to put that out there. But
because it's not safe. It's not safe.
I'm sorry. No.
And I'm happy that we were able to get lighthearted there, because I have to pivot to something that people like to ignore. Well, I'm gonna say a few things, right, that are not. Obviously, people keep coming back and listening to me say this shit, but and I have a specific guest that says this often: America hates Black people.
I said the last time I was on the show, America hates Black people.
Realizing the troops that have fought for this country, I wasn't really like, thank you for that, and we appreciate them. Thank you for your service. Unfortunately, my memorials surround Blackness. They're hella Black. I just think about Blackness all the time, because I have reckoned with the fact, like I've accepted the fact that my Black doesn't matter to this country at all, right? And so there's some people that like start to tune you out as soon as you start talking like that, which, if that deterred me from my mission and my motive and my charge, then I would stop talking about it. But the people that are tuning me out are the ones, you are actually the problem. But you're not going to hear it from me. You're going to get it from the people around you. So we're just off of the hills, which 100 years ago, smoke would still be in the air, in the Greenwood district in Tulsa, Oklahoma, where white vigilante terrorists,
call them what they are,
destroyed a city only because the people were Black and wealthy. There's a reference there. Hey, I'm sure they were also handsome and wealthy. But nonetheless, whiteness, yes, white terrorists, that's what they were. That's who they are. And so I think the problem is that it's not enough of us. And that's something I've been talking to some of my colleagues, fellow journalists in different cities, about the verbiage that we use that's not curtailed by editors and newsroom directors on call. And if you're choosing me to report on this, I'm calling it what it is. I'm calling it what you call it when it's brown skin.
Absolutely. It was a domestic terrorist attack, period. They burned a whole city.
That lasted for 16 hours. And I don't think people realize how deep it ran, how long and how impactful it was, and how detrimental it was to that community. And then, of course, Maya Angelou popped into my head, and it's like, well, still we rise. And I think that's what they're banking on. That's what they bank on all the time. Well, they make it through this. So, you know, it wasn't really a problem. It was a problem. It is a problem, right? It didn't just affect what happened right there, but this terrorism, like, people like to call it the Tulsa Massacre, and I was reckoning with that on Memorial Day. Like, I can't call it that. This country doesn't give a damn about massacres. They massacre everything and everybody. Movie theaters, elementary schools with children, and 9 times out of 10, it's white vigilantes that are either mad about not getting no pussy, mad about not like, I don't know what they're mad about. They're mad about their work environment. They're mad at everybody. And that's the thing. Like, y'all just get mad and shoot everything up. There's something wrong, right? While we're focusing on mental health for everybody else, I would donate to a white man mental health fund. I don't know if that's available. I'm gonna try whitemanmentalhealthfund.org, see if someone's started that up, because it's necessary.
Because y'all don't. This country does not. I'm just not. I'm not sorry.
You wouldn't donate?
Hell no, because y'all can't seem to. First of all, this country does not prioritize mental health in and of itself. We do not talk about mental health enough. But if any mental health fund needs to be created, it needs to be established for Black and minority people, because we are still going through generations of massacres and traumas and everything else that this country has inflicted upon us. So no, I'm not
going to give my disagreement.
Your white fund to help your mental health because you had a bad day and decided to go shoot up Asian spas, or you decided to go shoot up a church during Bible study. Figure it out, like Black people have been doing for generations since y'all have been killing and raping us. Figure it out. We figure it out. So you figure that.
So maybe I jumped the gun saying that I would donate to that damn white fund, because I'm not gonna do that.
The white fund is the government.
I jumped the gun there. I do think that a fund needs to be established for us, right? I think that there was a study, and I did some reporting last week. If you missed that show, podcast, right? And if you're watching right now or listening right now, whatever you're doing, whether it's live or via podcast, subscribe, like, share, or log off. Wasting my damn time. But I talked about that. I talked about that last week, that there is an uptick in Black people looking for mental health professionals, and they're not available, right? Once you finally find one in network, and shout out to the Black Lady Sketch Show on HBO Max. They were talking about that too. Like, when you finally find one in network, the next appointment isn't available until the next 5 months. Well, in the next 5 months, I don't know how many more of us are going to die. I don't know what I'm going to have to deal with at work. I don't know what type of, we need that. And so I think that, the question is like, well, therapists are training Black people, are Americans that can go to anybody else. I can't really go to somebody that doesn't, A, understand my trauma, and B, even believe it.
Exactly. And therapy is expensive. And not only that, our insurance system in this country is garbage. It's garbage and it's expensive. So even when you do find someone in network, you're going to pay at least $50 to $60 as a copay. And then a lot of therapists, psychotherapists, mental health workers are not taking insurance anymore because of the hassle that you have to go through in order to get payment. And some insurance providers just now started covering mental health appointments. You get a limited amount of appointments that are covered, so you have to spread them out. And then after that, then you have to go to group therapy, and then you only get so many sessions of group therapy. But I don't want to sit in a group and talk.
Who determines this, right? Like, and somebody, you can probably attest to this. I've worked everywhere, okay? I have literally probably worked at every company. And if I have not worked at that company, I have worked in the industry. And I really didn't really understand what was happening when I was getting these jobs, because I wasn't getting fired, but it was just time to go. But I now have an understanding of how things work. So I worked in insurance for 2 years, processing these claims, and I know how they work. I know how they think, and I want to know why they get to make the decision. Why is this corporation making healthcare diagnoses for the masses? I don't understand why that's the case, or why we would allow that, or why that's something that can continuously happen without it being checked. And I would continue, and I keep saying I don't know why, but I do know why. I do know why. Because when you look at this Congress, and let's roll it back. Let's roll back this Congress and what it looked like before what happened. And I'm talking about both houses, the House and the Senate. Donald Trump woke women up, right? So all of a sudden you have this onslaught of women in Congress. but it's still unbalanced. You take the handful of women that were thrown into Congress and you have old white men. And I'm not going to do that this year like I did last year, but come on. Old white men.
Period.
Running everything, right? And I think that we're too, if this is going to, like, all of this, it's decorum, right? And I think that I've lost all of mine. So I don't really, like, I know some of y'all are trying to get it back because you got to go back into these offices and things like that. That could never happen to me because I don't have any left. I don't have any patience. I'm not waiting. I don't care about reform. I don't care about, I don't want any more training. Because you don't have to train these old ass white men to not be bigots. They're just going to be bigots, so they need to be removed, right? You can't untrain somebody that's willfully hateful and going to shoot you whether they're trained not to or not.
Right.
This lady was on the force for 27 years, and this is not even, I can't do this today because I got to keep moving. But this is like, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. So I'm looking for people, right? Constantly. I'm talking to people constantly that are like ready to just look. Let's do this work. It's difficult. It's painful. Ain't nobody gonna hire you. So you're gonna have to figure it. You're gonna have to hustle. You have to do some things on the side, and you're gonna have to accept that. You're gonna have some bad days. It's not gonna be easy, right? And I think we added this too much. It recirculated because we're in that era last year that a lot of us, specifically Black people in media, were very upset. I was mad for 3 months. I don't wake up mad. I just am not that type of person ever. But for 3 months, I was mad every single day, angry. And I'm not violent, but I was angry. To that point, what's recirculating is all you coons out there dancing with the police. And I don't use the word coons lightly. I don't. But that is coonerific. It was coontastic. It was coon-larious. It was ridiculous because the answer for people that were out there dancing with the police, well, this is the way that we protest. We just showing that we want love. No, not with no. What we did was we sent the wrong message. As long as you get out here and dance with me, I'm going to convince myself that when you see me, you're going to remember that it was me. But they won't. Because they haven't, because they didn't. And so if you look at the statistics of people that are resigning from the police force because they don't want to be held accountable, that's the only reason you would resign. Or there's a fear that we have to stop moving funding away because defunding the police is not ending policing, right? We don't even have to address that. But there's fear in these police departments that if the Democrats or if Black people continue this rhetoric, people won't want to sign up to be police officers. Well, those people that don't want to sign up when they have to be held accountable shouldn't be there. I don't feel any type of way about that. I would rather your bigoted ass not have a gun that's licensed to kill and shoot whatever you damn well please. I would just rather that not happen personally. But
Here is, I have a fundamental issue with this country, a few of them. One of them being racism is real, period. I don't want to hear that we are in a post-racial world. I don't want to hear that, and Black Lives Matter is not anti-police. Stop making that synonymous. We are anti-y'all.
Black Lives Matter means that Black Lives Matter. It doesn't mean anything more than that. It's not, we're not trying to fight. We're not looking for an argument. It simply means that Black Lives Matter. And you want it to mean something more than that.
Right. And that is a minimum. Our lives mattering is a minimum. You have some of the, and I went off about this yesterday in another conversation. there are so many bigoted representatives, people governing this country based on a document that is over 200 years old with a few amendments attached to it, that those even have some racist clauses within them. The 13th Amendment was not perfect. It has that clause in there saying you can still be locked up if you commit a crime. So then they started inventing crimes to lock us up. And I'm not making that up. They have literally invented crimes. There is, I think it's in the state of Georgia, where there is a law in a city that if you are walking down the street with an ice cream cone in your back pocket, then you can get arrested. BS legislation laws like that still exist just so they can use it. I cannot tell you how many stories I have heard, experienced, and seen of being pulled over for window tint, for an air freshener, because I couldn't see if your seatbelt was on, so I pulled you over. We have got to re-educate our systems. And on the topic of education, I don't want to see another state get rid of critical race theory. Y'all have been teaching.
See, you hit. I wasn't. See. You hit one of the reasons that they don't want it there. Because you start to discover that they created laws based on race.
Literally.
So you don't want it taught. And I've asked a few people, right? Because I have to protect my space and protect my mind. And, you know, I just can't be out here just talking to white people all willy-nilly. I just can't do that because I don't really know. And things are just way too shaky in this world. Like, I know what some white people, and those are the ones that I would probably talk to. But no, I'm not going to strike up no conversations with no new damn white people. These 75 million white people voted for the ass clown that used to be in the White House again. And you can't convince me after 4 years of that, oh, you just thought he was real. He was the only one telling the truth. No, he was the only one making up lies and literally trying to dismantle what this great country that these people say.
Now, I will be honest, and that is really what boggles my mind. How can you possibly say that we are not in a divided country when 74 million people, over 74 million people, still voted for Trump? After everything he said about women, after everything he said and did about LGBTQ rights, after everything he said and did or didn't do for Black people, after everything he said and did to immigrants or those who are internationally displaced, after everything he said and did to everyone, poor white Americans even, to the farmers, to the local businesses, to us.
You know, I want to stay right here. I want to land right here because I can talk about this all day. And the reason that people are and this hurts, right? People, I say this about everything, right? And so you'll watch if you follow this show or my conversations in any way, it comes back to the fundamental ideal that people do not read anymore. So people are not informed because the only way that you believe a habitual, cemented liar that's literally said out of his mouth that he could shoot somebody on Fifth Avenue and people would still follow him is the only reason you believe that is because you don't have the mental capacity. And I'm not, people are like, well, when you say that, you could really deter people. The people are already deterred. I'm not deterring anybody. What that's meant to do is just tell you that there's literature out there that you can go pick up. You don't have to believe a word that comes out of my mouth. You can mute me, unfollow me. Tiffany, anybody else, you can mute all these people. Well, I'm conservative at heart, and like that has nothing to do with it,
right?
Because there's nothing conservative happening right now. There's nothing. Right. There's nothing but power grabs. When you look at these laws that are being implemented in states where you live. Right, and like, and some people like, well, you don't even live in a state like that anymore. I still got to be concerned because I have family and friends that do, that don't read. Right, I have plenty of family and friends that do read, but they don't. You don't even know this is happening, and you think that things are just normal, or this is how things are supposed to work, or the fact that the abnormal is so normal that it's just normal now. No, it's normal, it's wrong, it's heinous, it's disgusting, it's problematic. And it is the nature, it's the literal nature of this country. This is who America is. And until we accept that, you can't, you know what parents, and I can talk to I'm talking to the Black community, right? And white people, maybe your parents said this too, I don't know. And POCs. But my parents were very, 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 I was going to use the word strict, but they were just very, very intent to let me know that my actions determine who I am, not what I say, right? So it's not what this Constitution says. Jefferson said all men were created equal while having slaves.
Right. And sleeping with one. At least one.
And populating the earth. A couple of states, right? With one dick. And so it's not what he said. It's really what they, and that's this country, right? If all men are created equal. However, we will consider the Negro 3/5 human.
Period.
That's written.
And
that
I won't go so far to say, now, yes, some people don't read, but some people only read what is spoon-fed to them. You and I talk a lot about deconstructing toxic theology. And I think that we have to do that with our education as well. I had to deconstruct the public school education that I got about MLK and Rosa Parks being the most prominent people in Black history. And Christopher Columbus sailed the ocean blue in whatever year that was, 18, 17, whatever year it was. I don't even remember. Whatever the song is, y'all know what I'm talking about. I had to deconstruct that. I had to get rid of that societal normative thinking that my Black life didn't matter. I am a grown woman, and just months ago, I sat on the phone and sobbed talking to my mom because I, as a Black woman, felt unheard and unseen. Again, I'm good and grown, and I still have moments where I'm like, this hurts. It hurts to know that this country and a people doesn't like me just because of the melanin in my skin. And I am pretty smart. I'm very intelligent. You can tell that I try to read everything. I had to, and still have to, spend years and a lot of time reading, like you said, Alex, different pieces of literature to learn what my Black skin entails, especially as a Black woman. If there's no other message that I push and push and push, it is that, one, I am a Black woman and I don't have to apologize for my presence. And so I try to teach other Black people that as well. But Black women especially have a habit, and I do this too, and I am working on it. And I thank every Black man and Black person who has helped me work through this and continues to help me work through this. Stop apologizing for everything. And you know what? Like you say, you were really sitting and thinking about the word massacre and everything surrounding the Tulsa 100-year anniversary and all of that. I really have been sitting with the notion of the angry Black woman for the last few months. And you know what? Yes, I'm angry. But you know what else? I have a right to be angry. Y'all are killing us in the streets and in our apartments, killing us for breathing, killing us for trying to live our lives and literally do the best that we can after generations of murders and rapes and everything else and all the other traumas that have been inflicted upon us.
And saying it was an accident.
And saying it was an accident, or saying that it was lawful, or saying that it was a lawful use of deadly force, or saying that you shooting into a crowd, not knowing what was happening because a young lady had a knife in her hand, even though she was trying to defend herself, and she called you that was a good use of deadly force, yes, I'm angry. I'm not just angry for what's happening now. I'm angry for what y'all did to my ancestors. I'm angry for what you continue to do to my people. I'm angry because you continue to lock us up for no reason, especially for reasons that is making white people billions of money in different states. So yes, I am angry. And you know what? It's okay. I am okay being the angry Black woman. I am okay being the intelligent Black woman. I'm okay being the Black woman who's going to continue to fight until the day I die, even if that means y'all kill me. I am okay. And let me be clear. I want to say this right here and right now, because I thought about this the other day in the shower. If something happens to me, I didn't kill myself. Let me be very, very clear. Sandra Bland did not kill herself, and we still don't know what happened to her. So maybe it's okay to be the angry Black woman. I didn't mean to come on your show and go off. I'm sorry.
It's fine.
You know what?
Because I made that abundantly clear. Right, like, no, don't be sorry, because you're not sorry. I think I want to focus on something that you said while also reasserting. I said this, I posted it. It is what it is. When they killed me, it was them.
It was them.
There's no way I'm killing myself. I'm telling you that. There's nothing. No. I'm not suffering from depression. I'm not. No. I'm pissed off all the time. But yeah. I'm not killing myself. I'm not hanging myself from a tree. Because we don't do that. But I want to say that, and I think that in this you should celebrate, because in that unlearning, and that the thing is, and I say this often too, people don't want to relearn, right? And that's just something that's a human trait, that we don't want to relearn things. And shout out to my non-binary community right now, because I share this with people in that community and in the LGBTQIA, LMNOPQRSTUV community as well. And even if you follow this show, you know that we did the Hear Me series. Black trans woman hear me, Black trans man hear me. And in hearing them, I share with them as well, because it was a dialogue. People don't want to learn again. And it's almost insulting. And that's why, like, I know that when I say reading, I don't expect adults to read textbooks, but there are things out there that you need to read that were not available for you to read, that were not offered to you in school. And so what you did, which is also in our communities, and I hate that this happens in our churches specifically, it's almost a sin to be more learned than the pastor or the ministerial staff, right?
Absolutely. You will get sat down real quick.
It's mighty embarrassing that I am, but I think that what unlocks that is when you start to unlearn, it also makes you more receptive to understanding things that don't make sense in your realm of understanding, right? When you are focused on things that we operate based on what we know. And you're like, well, that was never my experience. Well, I grew up learning like this, or I grew up and my mama did it this way, my grandmama did it this way. You're not them. You have wonderful and beautiful things in them. And I hope that you continue to share those things with the world. But there's something that you need to learn that was not there. It was not taught. There's something there that you can pick up if you make the decision to really just explore. And so in doing that, Tiffanie, I believe that made you more receptive to things that you didn't understand. It gave you a further understanding that, and this one, it gave you a further understanding that the fight for civil rights was for Black people, but it was for all people. That fight was for all people. So when we see the names that were erased during that fight, like Bayard Rustin, a monumental shaker in the civil rights movement that was silenced in the history books because he was gay, he was a part of that movement. And if you think for 1 minute he was just out here fighting for Black liberation on his own and not the full freedom of who he was openly, you've lost your damn mind. You have lost your damn mind. And I think it's so important for us to encourage others. And that's why, like, you know, I have these little things, and it doesn't have to be big, right? I have private little meetups and link ups and kickbacks where I sit and I talk with friends and we explore things that we didn't know. We learn from each other, right? You know, my dad says all the time, if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room.
Right.
And a lot of y'all, I know that you are the smartest people in the rooms I see you posting that you in. I'm not hating, but it's time to find another room.
Find another room, find another. One of the best things that I think, I'll say our parents, because I know your parents did this as well. One of the best things that they did was educate me outside of my school education. And so I had the benefit, and I think that's what made it a little easier for me and more receptive as I left, K through 12, is that I was unlearning and deconstructing what I was learning in school while I was in school, so that when I left K through 12 and went to my HBCU, it was easier for me to be receptive to what I was being taught there as well.
The beautiful thing about that is when it happens in tandem, there was a lot of things that I never took in, right? Yeah. And I know that I am probably a monolithic in that way because I know a lot of people just regurgitate it. But there was things, you know, and there, when I say, because I'm a storyteller, you know, and people think that storytellers just embellish, I just be telling the truth. I try to tell these people that I would literally get to class. I haven't even said anything, and the teacher is like, Alex, out. I just got the bell, the late bell hasn't even rang, out. And it's because that truth to power thing has always been there. Right. And I can honestly say that I've had to adjust what I took in it as truth because some of it was bullshit.
Absolutely.
And it's not just from the school system, but some of that tradition is bullshit.
Yeah.
You know, my dad liberated me. I don't think he was intending to because he thinks I'm way too liberal in the first place. But he was like, you know, tradition. He's like, I heard the tradition was just peer pressure from dead people. I'm like, well, you ain't said nothing but a thing to me because
nothing but a thing.
I'm not trying to hold that up anyway.
But you know what? There's a lot of tradition in a lot of areas in our lives. And, you know, that's one of my passions to talk about on Tiffanie Talks is, I hate to say it, but we have taken in so much of the lies about ourselves that we started perpetuating that message within our own communities, within our own churches, within our own families. We have got to deconstruct
and it's a hot mess.
It's a hot
mess. Like you have made your tradition Jesus or your faith or whatever your faith is. You've made your tradition that, and I promise you, if you go back and look at the roots, whatever y'all are doing probably is way off from what the foundations or the roots were. And it's important. I wanna hit this because we're gonna run out of time. But we watched what happened in Tulsa. It's not something that I don't want to keep having memorials.
Right.
So I don't really be like, you know,
I'm also getting tired of conversations. I really want action.
I'm going to take some action, I promise. And I get a lot of flack for saying, which I'm like, I don't know, y'all. That's what I mean when I say y'all ain't read the document. Because the one thing that's true about this country that they haven't taken back from Black people yet, but if we keep our eyes closed, they will, is the freedom. You still can say what you want, do what you want, and that is patriotic, right? So when they were coming after Cap, because kneeling, which is one of the most honorable things that you can do, was disrespectful to the flag. But if you want to disrespect the flag, that's literally what the troops fight for. That's what the right is, right? So I say this because I know that, and I have a meme that we're going to put up about, Black Americans. We go through this struggle where all of our Black like first generation and second generation Americans. They're Americans, but you know, they'll rep Jamaica real quick, Trinidad real quick, and they have a flag. And then you look at Black Americans and we like, and people get offended. Like I literally see people. So you don't feel like that flag represents it? Absolutely not. It does
Most
not.
of those stars that represent places that don't like me and will lynch me as soon as I step foot across their border. Absolutely not.
No. And so I think like culturally, I think that's where a lot of us are. But Bishop William Barber, he's from the Poor People's Campaign. He does a lot of civil rights work. Love him. He had a chance to sit with some, and I'm gonna do it without sound, but and we'll share this on the Unmuted Nation social media as well. But he had some time to talk with survivors of the terrorist attack that happened in Tulsa, and he sang hymns with them. And I mean, what the joy to be able to do that with people that chose to, because I feel like I was telling you earlier this week, America routinely gives Black Americans a reason to leave.
Absolutely.
So to see these elders there, for me, was just like, I kiss the ground that you walk on, because I can't tell you in good conscience and good faith that if this continues like this, then I'm going to willingly be here 50 years from now, at the hands and at the mercy of people that really don't like me.
Right.
I can't tell you that in good conscience, because
for my Memorial Day, I remember and honor all of those who lost their lives on May 31st and June 1st, 1921 in the city of Tulsa.
I made that so clear.
They fought their own war, and that is the war that I honor. Not to say I don't honor others who have fought for this country. However, Memorial Day was originally set to honor those who lost their lives during the Civil War. And let me remind you very quickly that the Civil War was to continue to enslave my ancestors. So
we're so out of time. But I'm going to reserve my right to say that I have no comment. I don't comment on American holidays. But that is my patriotic right.
Juneteenth is coming up. Juneteenth shirts coming soon.
That's my patriotic right. I don't comment on American holidays. Because if I were to comment, the truth is I don't give a damn. Sorry, I don't. Before you go, though, I did want to cover some things. I don't know if you saw this. There's a lot of weird stuff going on right now. And again, if you're just listening and you're not following, you're going to miss out on this as well. There was a young lady in California that fought off a bear. I'm sharing that because I know that you love your fur babies and your children. This woman saw that bear swiping at her dogs, and she ran out there and she fought that bear with her bare hands.
No, they're going to have to take the dogs. I love my fur babies.
I'm not fighting with no brown bear. I'm not fighting with no black bear.
You better get your butt in this house. No.
And can I also say, if I live in a country that's requiring me to fight bears, it might be time to look. This is not normal. This isn't normal. None of this is normal.
I got black dogs, meaning they black on the inside. Get your butt in the house before that bear take you. Because if that bear take you, that bear's taking you.
I'm not fighting a bear.
I'm not fighting a bear for you.
I don't know that I'm fighting a bear for a small child. And that's horrible to say, but We may have to
If
try
it's
again.
my small child, I'm going to fight the bear. I stick that foot
We
in.
may have to try again. Children can be remade.
Alex.
A bear? That's
Alex.
I'm just saying. I don't know. All right. This last one, you know, what I love about you, if you're only listening and you're still resisting the urge to follow, you will be able to hear this one. And I'm gonna let the elders just speak, because if you have any inkling of Black American in you, you know what's happening here, and you know you're gonna have to like lean in closely so that you can hear it. I'm gonna be laughing, so I'm gonna mute myself, because every time I watch this, every time I hear it, but this is the embodiment of Blackness, and this is also this is because I do know that POCs and white people watch the show as well, and we're all one big happy unmuted nation family. But these videos kind of help you understand who we are. We talk to you, but we say more with facial expressions and sounds. And that's who Black people are. That's who Black Americans are. That's how we communicate.
Upset with her. What you do now? She called me about potato salad, right? She called me about potato salad if you were making potato salad. Potato salad. Yeah, well.
There's potato salad controversy again.
I told her that you were making it, but I wasn't making it. But I'm glad that Rod is okay.
Let me make something abundantly clear.
Controversy again.
I'm gonna make something abundantly clear. And this is for those of you that are just starting to cook. You did a little cooking for yourself, or some babe that you picked up during the pandemic that you let stay at your house, and now y'all broken up, but you still trying to cook. Don't volunteer to make the mac and cheese or the potato salad unless you know what you're doing. In this family, somebody put shrimp in the potato salad. But regardless of who made it, the question is always asked at any Black function. I know some of y'all call it cookout. I don't know where that came from. I grew up going to barbecues, but whatever it is, barbecue function, baby shower, wedding reception, church fellowship hall, who made the potato salad? That's a very important question. In fact, it's a regular question. You know what? I'll be putting my family and everybody on blast. I'm gonna go ahead and put the people up here on blast too. There's somebody that comes to my house to bring a potato salad sometimes, and people won't eat it. And they want to know who made that potato salad.
It's got to be the right color. It's got to be the right consistency.
It has to have the right stuff in it.
And if it has an extra ingredient,
doesn't belong in potato salad.
No, that's not being fancy.
If it does where you're from, you're here now.
Ooh,
so what's up?
Putting shrimp in? No.
It's carrots in, but there are some cultures that.
In potato salad?
I'm done putting my people on blast, but it's a real thing. It's a thing. We're out of time. I'm really out of time. I'm actually over time, and I had so much more to talk about, but I'm back here at the same time, same place tomorrow. But Tiffanie, let's talk about when they can catch you on Tiffanie Talks. She comes on before me, but do not listen to her and then skip me. Don't do that. You just need to. It needs to be all encompassing, right? All encompassing.
Don't do that. If you've missed any previous episodes of Tiffanie Talks, I'm also available via podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and I'm sure there's probably a couple other places, but those are the two places I can think of off the top of my head. New episodes coming to you very soon, weekdays 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. And then, of course, you can catch Your Nation right after me, 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. Don't skip either one of us. Just play Boss FM Talk all day.
Boss FM Talk. And then when you need to leave there's other channels to listen to. So there's no reason to leave the app. I've been telling you that. You can work out in that app. You can go get your throwbacks in that app. Again, tomorrow, Throwback Thursday will be brought to you by Boss FM. The replay, again, I know y'all liked that last week, and it's going to happen again tomorrow. But for me, that's going to do it. So You know how to do it. That's it for the Nation today. If you missed any part of this, it's available on the podcast. Remember, today is greater. Believe it, speak it, and live it. You have to make the choice to be great. Your situation is not your destination, so go somewhere and make it your damn motivation. I'm out of here, and I'm back with you tomorrow, same time, same place, 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. Make me your morning show over there on that coast, and then we will do it all again tomorrow. I love you. Hey, it's Alex from Unmuted Nation. And listen, I don't do this show for my health. Unmuted Nation is really about creating a nation of unmuted people that speak truth to power and truth to each other. So if you enjoyed this show, this interview, the cabinet, or any aspect, make sure you share this episode. If you're not following Unmuted Nation on any social media, do that. And if you ever have a comment, send me a video, send me a voice note. Drop it to comments@unmutednation.com. And I'm responding. I got you. All right? Let's be a nation unmuted.
Yes! Unmuted Nation and the Unmuted Nation podcast are registered trademarks. Each show is broadcast and powered by Boss FM. For more information on the show, podcast, or advertising, email show@unmutednation.com.